Well, good evening and welcome to the Hamden Online Footy Show. That is right, we are back for another week. And I'll tell you what a big week it has been in the Hamden Football Netball League. I must introduce the great man, Treddy Hill, who's been kind enough to join us once again. Hilly, how are you, buddy?
Yeah, you're going well, Matt, and good evening, viewers. It's great to be back for another week and talking all things Hampton football.
Mate, going without the shades tonight too, Hilly. So new look for you, big fella. What's happened? You just relaxing yourself a little bit, or what's the go?
Oh, I've got a little information night at school tonight, so I just thought I'd take the specs off and just not scare off prospective parents and so forth. So, no, just something a little bit different, mate.
Fantastic, mate. Now, listen, we didn't have you in the commentary box on the weekend. Let's have a look at our Hamden League Live match of the day, and it was a cracking game of football between a couple of teams. And I must admit, I was really impressed with the North Footy Eagles. They ran out comfortable winners and done it on the bit, to be honest. And they unearthed a couple of young kids, Hilly.
Yeah, they've got some great kids coming through, haven't they? And, that Adam Dowie magic, no doubt. He loves giving the kids a chance to have a go. And they've got some good senior experienced players there. Jared Lewis, as we've seen on the screen, must have had a good day, kicking a few goals up forward. But no, they're exciting, the Eagles. I can't wait to see them this week when we do our game against Camper down in the North Warrnambool Eagles.
Yeah, absolutely. And, as I said, a couple of young kids for the North Footy Eagles really impressed me. This young kid, James Chittick, back at the Blues, of course. He's been away. He's kind of filling a key back post, which is an important role. There was no Sam Kelly on the weekend too, and they lost Jason Rowan early on in the game too, and it looks like Rowy's out for the season, mate, which is really disappointing for Jace and also for the Warrnambool Football Club.
Yeah, and they're probably lacking a little bit of experience and height now, aren't they? No Cowley, no Harry Ryan, then you throw in no Jace Rowan. Those key position players really hard to find, and he'll be a real big missing link, but as you said, just some really good players for the North Warrnambool Eagles. Felix Jones come over from the Portland Tigers, and for the first few games, I'm hearing good things about the way he's fitted in.
Yeah.
And obviously he was on the highlights there, just going about his craft nicely.
Yeah, and it was a nice little play there by the Blues, that is for sure. What about the goal here from Mitchy Bid, mate? To be honest, I thought that was really stiff not to get our Lucas Brothers snag of the day. It was one of the better goals of the afternoon, but the Eagles had all the answers all day, and they were just too good in the end.
So obviously a lot of players that can move through that midfield as well, but they've got some versatility up forward. Adam Wines, you've got Parrish. Did Parrish play at all?
No, Parrish didn't play.
No, Parrish. So Callett.
Dion Johnson's still
to come back in. Ben Callett played his first game, kicked 3 goals. So they've got a fair bit of variety when they go forward too, don't they?
I want to just talk about young Benny Callett. I was impressed with this young kid. It was his first game for the North Warrnambool Eagles. And he's obviously been playing great at Western Victorian Rebels. They moved him forward into the forward line in the Rebels game the week before. He kicked 3 in the second half, and he's ended up on debut kicking 5 for the North Warrnambool Eagles. What a debut, Hilly.
Yeah, what a debut, and geez, a big lump of a lad too. He looks like he's a really nice size, and I guess another year older too. Obviously missed a fair bit of footy last year due to COVID, so another year older, chance to get in the gym and bulk up a little bit. This fella's really important. Newly appointed skipper this year, and Adam Wines. Just a real experienced player up there, can take a good grab, plays that tall role, but also can play a bit of a ground ball role as well. And no doubt, he would have been an important player up forward along with Callett and some of the younger brigade.
You know what I love about Adam Wines' game? When the game was on the line early, he was just electric up forward, just presented hard, took some really strong marks, kicked goals when they needed to. I reckon he set it up for the North Warrnambool Eagles, led by example, and we're going to get him on as one of our guests tonight. I'm looking forward to having a chat, that is for sure, Hilly.
Yeah, no, they're looking good, aren't they, the North Warrnambool Eagles? I think they'd be pretty happy with their start to the season, and a great win over Warrnambool Blues, who has always been a bit of an arch rival for them over the last few years especially.
The biggest story of the day, of course, was Jason Rowan going down in the first quarter with a shoulder injury, and the news not good for Rowie. Let's have a look at it. In play, calling the game, it didn't look like much, but as we slow it down here, it's just that forward kind of motion on that shoulder and pop that shoulder out. He was very, very sore. I spoke to Rowie on Sunday night, and he said, I haven't had pain like that ever in my life. They couldn't get it back in till about 6:30 at night. And look, it looks like it's season over, which is really disappointing because he got himself in great nick back into the Hamden League. We love him on Hamden League Live, mate, and I'm shattered for the young lad.
Yeah, great fella, and just obviously, the older experienced player that a really young Warrnambool side could benefit from at the moment, just the experience and, tell players where to go position-wise and stuff. He's an absolute superstar. So what's the process now for Rowie? Is it surgery? What's the go with Rowie with his I guess for his rehabilitation.
I'm pretty sure it's surgery. I'm pretty sure he actually, he cracked the socket, hence why they took so long to get it back and they couldn't get it back in. So, yeah, really disappointing for Rowie. It is going to be season over, but knowing the person that he is, mate, and he's been through some really serious injuries with some knee reconstructions and broken fingers and all that kind of stuff, he will get himself and give himself every opportunity. It's just really sad because he's got another little bubs on the way in the next couple of weeks. So him and Beck, which is really exciting for them guys. He's going to obviously be out of action a little bit in regards to that. I think they've just about to pour a slab on their house. Just timing's really, really hard and awkward. So, yeah, I'll tell you what, mate, we're thinking of you, champ, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I wish you all the very best, Rowie, and I hope it gets better sooner rather than later. So, but I'll tell you what, Benny Parkinson's no doubt going to benefit on a Saturday. That having that extra set of eyes on the game, on the bench, and then obviously working with the forwards and so forth, and that's sort of the player that Rowie is, and I've got no doubt he'll be looking to still do that throughout the course of the year.
Absolutely, but way too good, the North Warrnambool Eagles, that is for sure. Let's have a look at the other games, Hilly. Cobden took on Koroit and took it up to them in the first quarter, but that Saints juggernaut just keeps on rolling on, doesn't it? They've just got quality all over the ground.
They do, and I'm just looking at their forward line. Geez, they had so many contributors up forward. So if Sam Dobson's not kicking goals, you've got Cora, you've got McIntyre, they've got midfielders that push forward. They're just playing a really nice brand of footy. Their youngsters have fitted in really well into the way they're going. They're looking dangerous again, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely they are. It's ominous signs, and you speak of just the talent across the field, but the real story I think so far is just the form that Sam Dobson's in. I really feel sorry for any player that's going to have to line up on him because his work rate is just phenomenal. And if you were looking at an early market for a Maskell medal, he would have to be featuring highly at the moment, Hilly.
Gee, what's he kicked over the start of the season? 22 goals from 4 games, so he's averaging 5 goals a game. So for any key back, and you've got to play on Dobson that week, you're going to give yourself a headache, aren't you? Because you're going to think, well, how do I stop him? He's so good in the air, but his ground ball work is exceptional as well. So he's got the whole round game, really. Yeah,
he's a complete package, that is for sure. What about on Anzac Day? Of course, the Portland Tigers took on the Hamilton Kangaroos. No love lost between these two teams, of course, Hilly, but gee whiz, we saw Portland the week before. They were really impressive against Port Fairy, and they have come out and they have given Hamilton a bit of a touch-up.
Well, in the tune of over 100 points, Matty. Unbelievable. And obviously the conditions, I think, are going to be suited the way that Portland like to play. They're quick running side. They like to get the ball moving really, really quick, and they back their runners. So a dry day, they're going to really test a lot of sides, especially those top sides. How that game plan stacks up in wet and wintry conditions like they had against Croydon early on in the season, I guess remains to be seen.
A lot of light bodies, isn't there?
Yeah, a lot of light bodies.
Light kids, especially up forward, Shepherd, Mitchell, those kind of boys, Dunlop. But I'm really looking forward to seeing Portland again because, we come away from that Port Fairy game and we were a bit bullish about, the prospects of some of these young kids. And I know Jared Holt is as well, so good on them.
Yeah, no, it's good to see. And obviously, they've been in the 8 seasons now, both them and the Kangaroos. It'd be great to see one of those sides finally get there and play some finals footy. They weren't far away last year, the Kangaroos. It might have only been 2 games out. The Tigers, I think in the first season, were only a game or 2 out that year, but haven't really contended any other year. So it'd be good to see this year really pushing. What about the Kangaroos? A bit disappointing. Only kicked 4 goals.
Well, I see they only named 3 best players, so I reckon Fitzy not overly happy with the effort and the performance on the weekend. So knowing Jared Fitzgerald, I'm tipping that he would have given them a solid old session on the training track this week, Hilly. What about the Roosters? They took on the Camperdown Magpies up at the Friendly Societies Park, and we keep on saying it, Hilly. Camperdown's side on paper looks really, really good, and they took it up to the Roosters for 3.5 quarters.
Didn't surprise me, Matt. A bit of an unknown quantity, I guess, Camperdown. We haven't seen them yet on Hampton League Live, but the performances they've shown in the first couple of weeks have been extremely impressive. They're really rounded across the whole ground, and up against the South Warrnambool side who are playing some pretty good football to only go down by 2 goals up at the Friendly Societies Park, where the Roosters play pretty well. I think they'd come out of that with a lot of confidence.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, the Roosters not doing anything wrong either.
No.
They're certainly one of the sides to beat. They've got a really strong midfield, got a good core group of players. We must make mention of the debut of the young kid, 15-year-old Georgie Stevens. Played across half-back, they tell me, and was absolutely fantastic. And I said this the other day to someone, a young 15-year-old kid playing in his first senior game. I look back and you think, who was another 15-year-old that you can imagine that had an impact like George seemed to have had on the weekend? And I can only think of one, and that one is Jonathan Brown. I don't want to put too much moz on the young kid, but he's a ripper.
Yeah, good size, got the attributes, and just keen. Really keen to work on his game and fit. So he's got, and I guess having a basketball background always helps as well. I think that one touch and that vertical leap and so forth. He's going to be a special player, and
I'm looking forward to seeing him.
Yeah, I am too.
To be honest, I haven't seen a lot of George. Known him when he was a young kid, obviously, but they tell me that he is a ripper. Of course, old man Sammy, good footballer, and his uncle Phil Stevens played AFL, VFL. So, it's all bodes well for a really exciting career, that is for sure. The final game, Port Fairy taking on Terang, and the Bloods got off to an absolute fly here, and this is the difference in the contest.
Yeah, tell you what they kicked 8 goals to 3, I think it was at one stage, up by about a 5-goal lead. And
we're in the old Mortlake jumpers there too.
Yeah, which is good.
Fantastic.
I like that, having that heritage sort of type feel about it. But I thought Port Fairy, after their game last week against Portland, would come in probably favourites into this game. But Terang Mortlake, young side, they were probably keen to try and string a couple of really good quarters together, and they did that for majority of the game. I know that Port Fairy fought back in the last quarter, led by Shane Savage. Goal spree with 6 goals, but they'd be rapt to get that first win of the season.
Can we just talk about Shane Savage? Like they kind of started him across half back, moved him into the midfield, and I think they moved him into the forward line. And they tell me he was fantastic. He kicked 3 in the space of 5 minutes to light up Terang Recreation Reserve, and it was great to see, because I think he'd been struggling a little bit with the pace of the game and just where he fitted in and all that kind of stuff, and he was probably feeling a little bit of pressure. But wasn't it great to see him respond that way and nearly carried the Seagulls across the line on his own?
Yeah, absolutely. I thought he might have played a bit more in the middle when we'd done the Portland game, just because he's got that big long kick. So, he's not kicking it short. He's going to put it nice and deep and put it in the drop zone for a lot of his teammates, and opposition defenders have got to work that little bit harder to try and make sure that the forwards aren't taking the mark. So I think anything forward of centre may be the way to go with Shane Savage, because he's such a big long kick to use that skill.
Let's have a look at that pit stop player of the year package now. And of course, Benny Kellett. He got the 3 votes on the weekend, Hilly. He got the Matthews Petroleum $50 fuel voucher as well. And, Benny Kellett was an absolute ripper. He was a sensation. As I said, a debut, kicking 5 goals. That's a big, strong mark by the young kid. Not an easy task. And as I said before, I reckon they've found his niche up forward.
I'll tell you what, I reckon a few Camperdown defenders will be looking a little bit worried this week, thinking, gee, big boy, kicks the football well, can take a nice contested mark. So they'll be certainly watching him this week. But isn't it great that the Greater Western Victorian Rebel players can come back for 3 to 4 weeks, get some club football into them, and I reckon the North Warrnambool Eagles would be really happy to get the likes of Ben Kellett in that side.
Oh, I love it. I love the fact that we've got these Greater Western Victorian Rebel kids. Mac Peterson, of course, at Croydon, Tommy Bolsh back, Fraser Morris, who didn't play obviously on the weekend. He played in the contest down in Geelong. But it's just great. It's great to see. And I'd love to see the competition start a little bit earlier in March, the TAC Cup. They play 12 or 13 games, and we get them back for the whole back half of the year. I think it's got plenty of merit, and might even drive some recruiting officers to get out to the Hampton Football Netball League and some of these surrounding leagues and have a look at some of the talent that is on display. Let's have a look now at the Lucas Brothers goal of the day. Now, this is a magnificent goal by Chopper Lewis. We called this Hilly. Look at this. This is just a true opportunistic goal on the left foot, right in front of the bar out at Bushfield. Skeeter Cannon and Reggie Grundy and the boys, I reckon they liked that one. Lindsay Cotty, they were up and about, that is for sure, Hilly.
Oh, I'll tell you what, clever goal by Jared Lewis. And as we know, he's really smart around that goal face. So to get on the left boot and dribble it through for a nice little left foot goal didn't surprise me when I was watching the vision. He's just clever at it. And a really important part of the North Warrnambool Eagles forward group.
He's a beauty. What about the Southwest Tool of the Week now, Hilly? Well, this is just growing in stature each and every week. We had little Ned Timms on our junior show earlier. We managed to get him on. But have a look at this. This is the Kalora Noorat Football Netball Club. Now, this is not in the Hammer League, but do you have the senior jumpers? The senior footy jumpers have been taken home for washing and not returned Thursday. Does anyone know their whereabouts? Please. So, Kalora, I hope you found them. That is unbelievable.
I'll tell you what, the old property steward of the Power may be under a bit of scrutiny. I reckon we'll be topping a bit of a flogging after that one. That's hysterical.
That is magnificent. So the whole Kalora Noorat Football Club, whoever actually took the jumpers home, you get the $50 voucher, all thanks to Southwest Tools. Does that sound all right, I reckon, Hilly?
I'll tell you what, we might have to get Benny Walsh or someone to flick us through a message, the senior coach, and see whether he might know a little bit more about this, so we can get a name, so we can name and shame next week. But yeah, that's a cracker. Geez, they're growing in stature, aren't they, some of these 2 of the weeks?
They're getting better and better. So don't forget, drop us a line. If you've got something, send it to us. We will have a bit of fun with it, and that's what it's all about, the Southwest Tool of the Week. Let's go to the first of our guests tonight. And, we tried to get him on last week. Unfortunately, the service down at Glen Ormston wasn't the best, but he's managed to put a 4G tower up down there, we hope. Adam Irish Courtney, the coach of the Cobden Bombers. We've got him. We've got him this week, I'm pretty sure. You there, Irish?
Yes, Matty, Hilly, I'm here this week. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, mate, great to talk to you. Great to see you, buddy. Listen, not the ideal start for the Cobden Bombers, but I'll tell you what, you've been really competitive in patches, and I know I spoke to Clinton Bowles during the week, and he covered that game down there for us. He reckons your first quarter was as good as any team he's seen in 2021.
Yeah, look, we started really well. Our pressure was really good, and we sort of cut off the corridor for Koroit, but as the game went on, just their supreme fitness and their ability to hit targets all over the ground really showed. And, they just they put us to the sword in the last quarter, and that's what good sides do. So, they're a great side and going to be hard to beat.
Irish, what are the first, I guess, your main takeaways from the first 3 games? Obviously you're very competitive and may have been a little bit stiff against North Warrnambool. Camperdown right up until the final term, you were into that game, and then obviously had a good start against Koroit. So looking back at those 3 games, where are the things that you really like? What are the things you're really liking, and what are the things that you think we still need to do a bit of work on?
Yeah, look, there's been some really good signs over all games. I think at North Warrnambool, our pressure was good. I think at Cobden, you've got to sort of shut that corridor down like we did at Koroit, and we did that really well for a lot of the game. But North were just better in the bigger moments and sort of got over the line. Camperdown, we just fell away in that last quarter terribly and probably didn't capitalise in the first quarter. We had double the inside 50s, just couldn't put it on the board. So that's something we've got to work on. And then against Koroit, started really well. Look, we only ended up with 16 on the ground in the last quarter, halfway through. So that's when they put us to the sword. But there's some really good signs. But I think the thing that's hurting us the most is our turnovers through the midfield. I think if we look at it, we're probably getting 80% of our goals kicked on us based on our own turnovers. So we've got to really fix that this week against Port Fairy. Look, they haven't won a game yet either. So, both sides are pretty keen to get a win. And if we can fix that up, we believe we can get some wins on the board.
Irish, tell us about a young kid by the name of Grady Rook. I know, speaking to a few blokes, they reckon he's been in fantastic form. I haven't come across him before, mate. Give us a little bit of an insight.
Yeah, so look, Grady's come up from Simpson. He played with us in 2019. I coached him down at Simpson, so that connection there to get him up. He's a really talented player, works really hard on his fitness. He went up and played for Nightcliff over the summer period up in Darwin, so come back really, really fit. And has started the season really well. I think moved him. We played him on a wing, half back the first year he was here, but now we've moved him into a midfield role, which is where he's a specialist at. He's a real ball hunter and uses the ball really well. So he's only played 13, 14 games. So the more weeks, the more games he plays, the better he's going to get.
And Irish, one of your big recruits in the off-season too is the big ruckman Mark Marriott. Comes from pretty good footballing background. I think he might have played some TAC Cup or NAB Cup as they call it now. Big men are hard to find. How's he settled into the Bombers lineup? And I think he's been in your best players in the first couple of weeks from what I've seen.
Yeah, look, he's been really good. We're lucky enough to pick him up pretty late with Toby Hawkins sort of went to WA and he sort of fell in our lap, which was a blessing in disguise. He's a fantastic guy, first of all, and his form's been really good. And as we know, the ruck division in the Hampton League is extremely strong. So he's coming up against quality players every week, but he's holding his own. And the more he goes, the fitter he gets, the better he's going to be.
Mate, sets up a really big game this weekend. Both searching for your first win. You're taking on the Seagulls. It's a massive contest, isn't it? And you're both going to be desperate for it.
Yeah, that's right. I think obviously who loses this week is definitely season over. So, in context of finals, I mean. But look, we've got a few blokes that we can that we're relying on to really perform well this week. A few blokes back from injury. I think we'll get 4 back. So It's going to be won and lost, on our turnovers. If we can look after the ball a bit better and use our forward entries well, I think that we can get the chocolates. But both sides are going to be desperate, like you said, and we're going out there to win. So we're pretty keen, actually.
Good on you, mate. Great to talk to you, big fella, as always. How many are you milking down there at the moment, Irish?
Just 180 at the moment, so it only takes a bit over an hour, but they're out there in the paddock waiting for me. So like the great Stephen Hammond said, the cows I don't work for the cows work for me. So I'll do that tonight, and they'll be ready to go, and I'll get into them soon.
Hey, Irish, big fella did say, he goes, if we couldn't get you again this week, mate, just due to phone complications, and obviously, he messes around with a bit of the milking timetable. He was more than happy to come and pull a few next week to help you. So I'm glad we got you, mate, because I don't know how the big man would have gone milking 180 with you.
If everyone wants to do a Hampton League live show live from the dairy, feel free to come down and get into one with me.
Good on you, Irish. Great to talk to you, mate. We wish you all the best of luck on the weekend. It's going to be a ripping game. Massive for both clubs, and we appreciate your time tonight, buddy.
Anytime. Thanks, guys.
Great stuff. Adam Irish Courtney there, the coach of the Cobden Bombers. Let's go now to our next guest. Looking forward to talking to this young gun too. And I said a couple of weeks ago, Hilly, I kind of saddled up next to this young fella at the bakery a couple of weeks ago and didn't realise how big he is. Big kid, solid, really kind of muscly physique and got some size about him. And he is the new skipper of the North Football Eagles. Was sensational in the first half, I thought, for the Eagles, setting up that victory, a comfortable victory in the end over the Warrnambool Blues on the weekend. And Adam Wines has been kind enough to join us. Ad, how you going, buddy?
Yeah, good. Thanks, fellas. I'm not that young anymore, but anyway, I'm happy to take it.
Mate, looking like you're in Kakadu too at the moment.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Can't work the computer real well, so I just left it there. It was the easiest thing to do.
Come on, mate. Mum set that up for you, hasn't she? So she's got it organised. Hey, mate, congratulations on the weekend. I thought it was a really good victory by the North Football Eagles and stamped a bit of authority. And you must have been really delighted with some of the young kids. Jet Birmingham was sensational. Benny Kellett we've spoken about. Young Bailey Keast, who's probably, he's had a couple of years' experience now, but you've got a really good mix. The James boys are playing well as well. It's a good mix, isn't it?
Yeah, they're all real good kids actually. They it's no surprise though. They put in the work. They've been doing it all over pre-season. Even last year, they're up at the ground every night doing stuff. So it's no surprise as they come out and play well. But yeah, it's a really good group of young kids we've got out there.
And I guess, Windy, there might have been a few question marks at the start of the pre-season. No McLaughlin, no Billy Smets, Kevin Burke's not coming back to play. Keasty's gone back to Geelong to play. And I guess, there was a bit of how were the Eagles going to go? But from what we've seen so far, the kids have really stepped up and I think they're enjoying playing with you older guys too.
Yeah, it's been good. Like, we always knew we'd probably lost 7 or 8, so it's a bit of depth there sort of thing. But all these kids have had the year of COVID where we've missed, so you don't realise they're probably that year older and a year stronger. And then we've picked up Parrish and Johnson as well, who are both haven't really played yet, and they're both quality, very good quality players, so they'll just add to it as well. But yeah.
Now, mate, we had Tyrone Vickery kick 4 the other day on debut for the Eagles. In the last 24 hours, we've seen the signing at North Shore, which I must admit surprised me. And I did send a little text through to Wiggsy now, of course, your coach. I said, what's going on here, Wiggs? But he assures me 1 game for North Shore, 1 game for Coleraine, and back half of the season when he can, Oakley Charger commitments permitting, he is going to play with the North Football Eagles. So it'd be great to kind of lock that down, wouldn't it, mate? Because he must have been really good in that debut game.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, I'm nearly certain he's coming back. So he always had to play a game up there and a game at Coleraine. He knows a few people and always wanted to play with them. So, yeah, he will make it back at some stage. I don't think little Chopper Lewis is going to let him get off that easy. So, but he's a quality bloke most of all. Like, he fits in with everyone, no worries. We all met him at Chopper's wedding and he got on like house on fire, and that's what sort of got him down here. So he's quiet enough, but yeah, he's no worries at all.
Hey, Winesy, North Warrnambool has been part of your DNA for a long time, your family's DNA for a long time. You must have been really proud to be named captain this year, and it must have been a position that you certainly must be very appreciative of and very honoured to take.
Yeah, it was always good. It was never sort of on the agenda. It didn't worry me either way, sort of thing. But got voted in. So I'm happy to do it, and nothing too much changes really with myself, and I get along with everyone, no worries. The older boys have sort of stepped back a bit, so it was time for someone else to step up. But we've probably got a bit of a gap in that middle sort of group. It was sort of myself and Darcy Keese that come through, and then we've sort of got the older blokes and the younger. So it's just a bit of just keeping everyone together. But yeah, we're bringing them through, no worries. So it's been good.
Hilly touched on your family mates. Of course, your brother Matty, Luke. It must be great to play alongside those boys each and every week. And you have such a big impact on contests as well. It's phenomenal. And they mustn't forget your father, Kenny, who was an absolute superstar over a long, long period of time out at Bushfield, of course, and Koroit Football Club. There's some great breeding there. And I saw he was on the gate as I drove in on the weekend. He must be a pretty proud dad going to the football each and every week and watching the three sons run around.
I'd say he would. He doesn't sort of say too much. He just tells us get out there and get a kick. So, but he loves it. And even playing with Matthew and Luke, it's always good every time we run out, sort of thing. Like Matthew and Tom Batten and X Mills, they did it the hard way. We've sort of just come through and been competitive all along, whereas those boys sort of kept the club together for those early years of it. Like they were getting smashed by nearly 200 points most weeks, and they stuck through it, and sort of everyone's reaping the rewards now. So
beautiful, mate. Hey, listen, we appreciate your time tonight on our Hamden Online show, buddy. It's going to be a cracking game of footy. It is our Hamden League Live match of the day this weekend. You're taking on the Camperdown Magpies. They're coming off a really competitive and spirited performance against the South Warrnambool Roosters. You guys have got to travel up there. You're in good form yourself, and that's the reason it is our match of the day. Winesy, we appreciate your time tonight, buddy.
No worries. Thanks, fellas. I'll see you on the weekend.
Good stuff. Good kid. And been a great player in the league for a long period of time. And he is, you probably forget, he debuted as a young kid, Hilly. He seems like he's been around forever, but he's still fairly young. And he's a big kid, he presents well, and he's nice and aggressive at the football, and it's good.
Yeah, no, good player. Obviously started down back, and he's probably played more of a forward role over the last few seasons. Played interleague for Hampton League, so yeah, he's had a good career so far. But I know that he, and along with a lot of North Warrnambool people, they'll be chasing that elusive premiership, aren't they?
Oh, absolutely. And, they've got the best in the business, one of the best in the business, Adam Dowie, coaching them. Of course, he knows how to win flags, and I reckon it still pains him, that loss in 2019 to the Koroit Football Club. Hilly, that is us done for the night, big fella. We must thank our sponsors too, Powercore and the crew, Timmy Rourke and team. Thank you very much for being on board. McDonald's, of course. We love our cheeseburger and McHappy Meals. You name it, we do it. I like the breakfast, actually, at McDonald's. Lindot Living, okay, we are coming. Sue and Doreen, get the pie warmers fired up, because we are going to come and have a pie night with all the superstars and legends out at Lindot Living that played football, played netball, that are now living in that facility. They've been going to the football each and every week too, which is fantastic to see. So good on you guys. We appreciate your support. And of course, Sun Gold, FM flavoured milk. It is magnificent, and the logos are on the senior footballs too. They debuted last weekend. They look magnificent. So Billy Slater and the team, we appreciate your support. Jared Lowry as well. Hilly, you're going to stick around, mate. You've got a netball show coming up, mate, but I'm looking forward to getting down to Camperdown and the North Warrnambool Eagles on the weekend.
Yeah, can't wait, Matty, and should be a great game.
Good stuff. We hope you've enjoyed our Hamden Online Footy Show for another week. We'll see you at the footy on the weekend.